who are sitting elsewhere connected through the online mode. So as you know, today's session is all about history optional subject, right? And all of you sitting here and sitting here because all of you have at least some interest in history. What? Right? But there might be some apprehensions as well. So in this session, what I'm going to do is what I call 3 A's. So I'm going to discuss 3 A's related to history optional subject. You might be getting amazed. 3 A's is what? Here the first A is apprehension. This is the word what I have used. Second A is advantage. And the third A is approach. Take a look. Okay. So take a look here. History optional subject 3 A's. First is apprehension, second is advantage, third is approach. What do they mean in fact? Say, there is a good number of civil services aspirants. They have history background. I mean, history as a background subject. They have great interest in history. Many of them are greatly fascinated by history. They want to opt history as an optional subject, but they have certain concerns, certain doubts. This is what I call apprehension. Maybe some of you are also having, right? Second is advantage. An advantage here refers to positive aspects. See, every optional subject has certain positive aspects. Same is applicable to history as well, right? And what I want is that you shouldn't choose history as an optional subject just on the basis of your background or interest. You should be knowing about all the advantages as well. Why? Because once you come to know all the advantages, this will instill a sense of satisfaction and confidence that yes, you have chosen the right option. And third is approach. An approach here means approach to prepare history optional subject in, I can say, highly efficacious manner in order to attain about 300 marks. So in this session, I'm going to discuss 3 A's one by one. So first, apprehension, right? So see here, under apprehension you find 4 points. These 4 points are in fact, you can say 4 concerns or the 4 doubts. What normally civil services aspirants present, I mean as per my experience. One is length of the syllabus. Second is dates and years. A lot of dates and years are there. This is also one apprehension. Third is background, whether background is needed for choosing this option. And fourth is the score. If you have any concern in your mind, any doubt in your mind, what I have not mentioned, I can add that. Do you have any? Any other concern regarding history optional subject? Feel free to ask, apart from these 3. Okay, how many of you are having first concern? Okay. How many of you are having second concern? Okay. Third concern? Okay. Fourth concern? So I have chosen the right ones. But maybe I'm not aware of some. That's why I'm asking. In case you have any? No one? No other? This is the only one. All right? And on what basis I have presented this? Because normally when I interact with the students, so normally they present this 1, 2, 3, 4. So let's discuss 1, 2, 3, 4 one by one. First one is the length of the syllabus. Say, in this field, that is the field of civil services, examination, preparation, coaching, there are certain perceptions. I mean, if any field exists, there would be certain perceptions. It is not necessary the perceptions are correct. So one perception here is that there are certain optional subjects that are very lengthy. Civil services aspirants particularly talk about 3, 4 optional subjects that are very lengthy, like one is history, one is political science, one is anthropology, and some say geography also. So this concern is applicable here also. Now, I should tell you one thing here that is very, very important, and that is in fact, I should say top secret you should know. How the syllabus of any optional subject is defined by UPSC. I'm going to give you this idea. UPSC appoints expert committees for defining the syllabus of optional subject, right? With the instructions that in defining syllabus, the committees would be incorporating the issues and the themes and the topics of bachelor, honors level and master's level also. Following these instructions, the committees define the syllabus, right? So expert committees define the syllabus following these instructions. Finally, when they define, so they incorporate everything that is of honors, I mean bachelor honors level, and many things of master's level. So syllabus of every optional subject automatically becomes very vast, lengthy. I mean any damn thing you think of related to one particular optional subject, that is there. This is a top secret now you have come to know. Second thing very important. But the different expert committees have defined the syllabus in different way. There are two ways to define. One is to present just the broad topics or themes. And second is to present the broad topics and themes plus the micro topics within that. When the second approach is followed, it will occupy more space. When the first approach is followed, that will occupy less space. And when it occupies more space, it appears to be lengthy. I'm presenting a logic before you. You take example of your GS syllabus, right? GS paper 1, main examination. One section is Indian heritage and culture. What UPSC mentions there? UPSC mentions salient aspects of art forms, comma, literature and architecture from ancient to modern times. This is one line syllabus. It appears so short. Maybe you feel you can cover this in one day. But the case is not this. It subsumes so many things within it. The same syllabus can be defined in a different way. With this line, more things can be added. Various art forms, painting, sculpture, dance, drama, etc., etc. Trends of architecture, trends of literature, Sanskrit literature, Persian literature, Pali literature. I mean, if you start defining this way, it becomes lengthy. Then I can convince you on this basis. See, this is so lengthy. And see, this is so short, just one line. But it is apparent. This is not the reality. I hope you understand my point. So the expert committees have defined this in different way. Some in a very precise way. It appears very short. Very good example is philosophy optional. Maybe you are not interested in. Nobody is interested in philosophy optional nowadays. Its syllabus is this much. That's it. Have a look today. This is the shortest syllabus. Apparently, reality is not this. It mentions, suppose, Buddhism. But within Buddhism are so many things. Rise of Buddhism, teachings of Buddha, spread of Buddhism, sects of Buddhism. I mean, if this is the way you define, it becomes lengthy. So this logic you will have to digest about the length of the syllabus, not of history. Any optional subject, logically, every optional subject is lengthy. There is no shortcut there. What do you think? Is this logical, what I am saying? I mean, the way you define syllabus. But the second thing that is very important about the length of the syllabus in history, and that is what? And that is very unique about history, you can say. In history optional subject, in order to address 99% of the question, I'm not saying 100%, 99% of the question in the main examination, you are supposed to cover about 60% part of the syllabus. Never more than that. This is a big advantage. This is not applicable to any optional subject. But this thing I will be discussing in the second A, that is advantage. With example, I will show you that on what basis I am saying that only 60% is required. So anyway, you are supposed to do 60% of the total syllabus. So if you ask me, what about the 40%? UPSC has mentioned so many things. But at this level, questions do not occur from many things what UPSC has mentioned. Because once expert committees have defined, I think then those things were not scrutinized again or examined again. So what was defined, that was taken on a face value. So many minor things they have added there. Many things where even records are very limited, and records are so limited, and history is based on records, you understand. If you don't have records, you don't have history. And if records are very limited, how you can raise a question out of that? Okay, but I will shift to this later. Now the second thing here is dates and years. This is a concern of many students. Some of you have also raised hands. That in history a lot of dates and years are there, and then you are supposed to mug them up. This is really, in one sense, suicidal, I can say. But the point here is, you carry the impression of your school days. Because in school days, I don't know whether you remember or not, you have studied all history. Ancient all history means what history we have. Ancient Indian history, medieval Indian history, modern Indian history, and modern world history. All these four sections we have already studied. And questions used to be such that demanded mugging up of a lot of dates and years. This is no requirement here at all. Why? Because at this level, at the level of the civil services exam preparation, the need is the knowledge of broad chronology. What does it mean, broad chronology? Broad chronology means like 20th century, first half of 20th century, second half of 20th century, towards the end of 20th century, in the beginning of 20th century, first decade of 20th century, last decade of 20th century. This is broad chronology. This is the way you are supposed to write in the exam. You are not supposed to memorize the precise years. There are so many. That's why I've used the word suicidal. It's suicidal really, like mugging up so many dates and years. Suppose one event takes place in 1901. You're not supposed to write here 1901 precisely in the exam. You're supposed to write in the beginning of the 20th century. Over. Plus one more thing. When you start studying history optional subject, you start attending classes, going through books, notes, then automatically you tend to remember all the important dates without taking any notice of it. Do you get my point? Why? Because the same year date you come across over and over again. Sometimes in the class, sometimes in the next class, sometimes in the book, sometimes in the notes. So many important dates you tend to remember automatically. So my point is, there is no need to mug up dates and years. Use broad chronology, and all important dates and years you will automatically be remembering without making any conscious effort of this. So this way I have settled down the second apprehension also. Even in GS I would be saying, but in GS you will have to do some dates and years because of the preliminary exam. See, one thing I should be telling you, that you have to do more history in GS than history in history optional subject. I'm going to prove this also. Like many dates and years you will have to remember in order to address certain questions in the preliminary exam, and you might be knowing the level of the questions there now, how far that has been changing and how complex that has been becoming. But in history optional that is not required. I will be throwing light on this more later. Now the third one, background. So one concern of some students are that though they are interested in history, they want to opt for, but background is not there. So will this play a role? First point is, if you have background of any subject, of course that helps. Simple logic, you understand, because you have some idea. Second thing is, with respect to history, you have some background. Why? Because you have read all the 4 sections of history what you have in a history optional subject. All of you have heard about Ashoka. All of you have heard about Buddhism. All of you have heard about Mahatma Gandhi. All of you have come to know that 15th August 1947 India became free. So I personally think all the basics of history you know and you remember. Plus, in GS, all history is there. In GS, you have ancient Indian history, medieval Indian history, modern Indian history, and modern world history. All you are doing anyway. This much background is enough. You have to build upon this, that's it. So I don't think that first we should have a background, because here you will find that in all the popular optional subject, you can say, like history, geography, pol science, anthropology, sociology, PABAT, these are some popular ones mostly people opt for. So there you will find that a huge number is there. I mean, I think here also that might be the case, that they don't have background. Here if I ask this question, how many of you are having history background? Say. Because my experience suggests over the years that 50% plus are engineers in the class, 2-3% doctors, 5% around commerce, management and all, 5-10% from other humanities, 5-10% from physics and mathematics, this kind of. So we'll find only about 5% people are there having history optional in the history optional class. This is also very interesting. And I think this fact what I have presented just now, this also helps you understand that the background is not the requirement. And particularly in history, because in school days all history you have done, then GS you are doing all history. So you have to just build upon this. And last one is a score. In the market, normally there is a perception. This optional subjects are scoring, this are not scoring. And this perception keeps on changing. I've been teaching history for the last 25 years. I started in 98, 99. I have been through so many changes in the pattern of the exam and all. I mean, I'm the witness of that. Long back, 98, 99, 2000, 2001, 2, 3. Anthropology used to be very popular optional when I started teaching. Psychology used to be very popular optional. I'm taking you to the past days to understand certain things, right? History was popular. Geography was popular. PABAD was okay, kind of. Nobody was interested in political science during those days. Nobody interested in sociology. Then 2005 onwards, there was a drastic drop in the popularity of anthropology. Then 2005 to 15, 16, nobody was interested in anthropology. But 16, 17 onwards, you will find again a trend when anthropology is becoming popular. And it is still there. 2016, 17, you will find sociology has been becoming popular. Right? Now, psychology that used to be very popular till, as I remember, 2008, 9, it lost its popularity. Nowadays, nobody is interested in psychology for the last many years. Political science, the subject no one was interested for 10, 15 years, 98 onwards. 2015 onwards, it became very popular. And still it is there. If you raise a question why this is so, and only I can tell you this thing because I have been there in this field for the last many years. If you ask me what about the history, in history we don't find any rise, drastic rise or drastic fall. It's evergreen kind of going like this. In anthropology you find again a fall, no one taking, again rise after 10, 15 years. Political science, no one taking, all of a sudden rise. Geography is also like history, like PABAD. There was a time still, I remember. 2009, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. And there used to be two optional, you might be knowing, before 2010. Every second student had PABAD. Any optional subject class, if you sit, one optional is, suppose that optional, the class going on, and second optional is PABAD. This means one optional is geography, second is PABAD. One optional is history, second is PABAD. One is psychology, second is PABAD. This was the case for 4 or 5 years. Then there was a drastic drop after 13, 14. Nowadays you don't find PABAD is, people thinking of. What do you think, what is the reason behind this? Apply your logic. Does it mean 20 years back psychology was scoring, now it is not scoring? Or 20 years back pol science was not scoring, it has become scoring, some magic is there? Or PABAD was scoring long back, now it is not scoring? I'm not talking about history and geography because it's evergreen kind of. I'm talking about the rest. Why so? Questions, type of questions, toppers. This is more important. This is dominant factor. Mm-hmm. Exactly, yes. And this is a dominant factor, what you have said. You are saying something, yes, what? Mm-hmm. 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 Okay, no, but I have asked one more question. Why not earlier? No, what I'm asking is a different question slightly. That question is that for 15 years, sociology was not a scoring. Recently, it has become a scoring. For you're getting my question. That 98 to 2014, political science was not a scoring. But 15 onwards, it's a scoring. And related to many subjects, I have said this thing. So, any other reason you think? What? But I think she has presented the dominant reason. See what happens. In any field, and here you can consider this as a process, when the process is going on. That happens in everyday life also. One fine morning, you find a very good news that makes you very happy. It is something like that. Next fine morning, a very sad news. It's all beyond your ability and control. Same thing happens here as well. One particular year, you find some topping with a particular subject, right? This happens next year also. There's enough. Then all would start saying this optional subject is a scoring. And more quality students will be moving towards that. And in fact, result depends on the quality students. Quality students means the students having some talent and they do hard work. They of course perform. In any subject, they will perform. Maybe you people also. You opt for any subject, maybe you perform. Maybe history, it may be any other subject. And once you perform, you will get marks. Once you get marks, you qualify. Maybe you get rank. So point is this. In PAVAD also what happened? It was very popular for 5-6 years. Then what happened? In the top rankers, PAVAD was not visible. 1 year, 13, then second year, 14, 15. People have started thinking, okay, this is not worth. So this is like this. Through this example, what logic I want to present is that a score, higher score, depends on your performance. Subject does not perform. You perform. Your performance makes the subject scoring. Right? In every optional subject, even those optional subjects about which people say that is a scoring, there also will find people getting about 200 marks. Even less than 200. Every optional subject you will find people getting about 200 and people getting about 300. So simple logic is that every subject is scoring. I in fact say every optional subject is very good, to be fair, to be moral. No optional subject is bad. Every optional subject has certain advantages. Every optional subject is vast, comprehensive, because it incorporates bachelor honors level things and the master's level thing. Every optional subject you will have to work very hard. Every optional subject you can get 300 plus marks. Reality is this. Now it is up to you in which optional subject you perform. And performance depends on your talent. Second, the guidance you get. Third, the hard work you do. Simple. So this is the fourth one. Maybe meanwhile any other concern has occurred to your mind, so I can discuss that. Yes. Yes, I agree. Interest, see, in choosing optional, if you ask me one question, what should be the basis of choosing optional? Rational basis, not perception, logic. One, your background. Background subject is always a good subject. But you have to consider the level of the civil services exam and the background work what you have done. If you feel there is a match, it is a good subject. Second is interest, yes. Because if you have interest, that will make you sustain. Because here a lot of hard work you will have to do. I'm not saying this is very difficult, but of course this is difficult. Maybe through GS you understand that. It is difficult. You will have to do work very properly, diligently. I mean, being very relaxed, you cannot do it. So then interest plays a role, yes, because interest will become a basis of your hard work as well. Two bases absent. Third basis is guidance. Sometimes what happens, if the guidance is very effective, that makes the things very easy and even interesting also. I've also seen in my classes, many joined, they didn't have much interest in history, but attending classes, gradually they develop a lot of interest. Guidance, sometimes what happens, even if you don't have interest, but you become comfortable in handling the subject, then you become interested. Something like this, day-to-day example. Suppose a work is there, you are not interested. But that work provides you a huge amount of money you never expect. You become automatically interested there. That becomes a motivation. So here the same thing, that maybe interest is not there, but the guidance is such that you are in a position to handle any issue related to that subject, you become interested. So third basis is guidance. I think they are the only basis one should consider while selecting an optional subject. Background, interest, and guidance. What do you think? Yes. Any other concern you have? Because this apprehension part is over now. This is very this is very simple. आपका interest किसमें है ये पता लगाना आसान है. It's easy. No, but this has developed. That is past. Like right now, no one is IAS. But maybe next year you are IAS. So past nobody knows. Then after becoming an IAS, nobody would be telling you, okay, you were sitting in the next IAS classroom. No, all would be saying you are an IAS. So that is past. You didn't have interest. आपका interest नहीं था. But you did BA. Then you developed interest. Now you have interest. Plus now you have a background as well. You have two bases of selection. You have two bases. That's why you are here. That's why I understand. And third basis will be guidance that you will come to know gradually. In one class, maybe you don't understand what kind of guidance you will be getting from me. But I think by the time we complete the discussion, maybe a little bit you know about me also. So that is fine now? Okay. Now I move on to the second day. That is advantage. I have said, you just don't select history optional subject or any optional subject on the basis of a history, background and interest and guidance only. There's a fourth basis also. That is, you should be well aware of the advantages of that subject. Because normally what happens, since you are new, so you are not well aware of. So there is a need to present these things before you. Now, Under advantage, the first what is mentioned is expansion of history GS. What does it mean? What I want to say here? I want to say here is that preparation of history optional subject is simply expansion of the preparation of history GS, nothing else. You all are, if you are doing GS, you all are anyway preparing history optional subject without knowing it. I'm going to make you know. Everything what you have in history optional subject is there in general studies. Everything is same. But there are certain things there in GS, not in history optional. And there are certain things there in history optional, not in GS. I'm going to discuss this. All history you have done in your school days, all history you're doing now in GS, and the same history you have to do in history optional subject. Take a look at this slide, course content. On the left hand side, the course content of history GS. On the right hand side, course content of history optional. Okay? History GS course content I have presented exam wise, prelim and main, and these I have presented paper wise because this is only in the main exam, you understand. In history GS prelim, you have ancient Indian history, medieval Indian history, modern Indian history, and Indian art and culture. And Indian art and culture is in fact the part of ancient, medieval, modern Indian history. Agree? In GS, history GS main, you have Indian art and culture, modern Indian history that includes post-1947 history, and modern world history. Fine, so I think you agree with that. What is there in a history optional subject? In paper 1, you have ancient Indian history that includes art and culture also. In paper 1, second one is medieval Indian history that includes art and culture. Means both ancient and medieval Indian history include art and culture part. All right? In the second paper, you have modern Indian history that includes post-1947 history. And second, modern world history. Now, what is the difference you find here? You first look at this. Everything in history optional is there. But there you have more history. What is not there? I'm going to tell you. Post-1947 history in GS is history after 1947 till present. Maybe you have read the syllabus. But here, post-1947 history is 1947 onwards till 1964 mainly. This is Nehruvian era. That is what we call first phase of independence. So in history optional subject, we have only first phase of independence mainly, excepting 1-2 more issues. Whereas this is very big, that is 47 till present. And till present means 2023. If you are writing exam in 2025, so 2025. So 1964 onwards till present, this is not there in history optional subject. So more history. Second, Indian art and culture. You know the syllabus, I think. This is ancient to modern times. With respect to history optional, this is only ancient and medieval. Modern Indian history does not include Indian art and culture. This way again you have more history in GS. Third way, more history in GS. In history optional subject, as I have said, the 60% part, I am going to discuss that also. In history optional subject, there are specific events, personalities, development, policies, etc., etc., that have significantly played a role in creating history. occur as question, nothing else. These events, these personalities, these policies, this development may be related to a regional level, may be related to a supra-regional level, or maybe world level. Nothing else will occur as a question. For example, in GS history, which section of GS history are more comfortable? Modern India, I think, normally. Yes, I take some example of modern India. In GS history, modern India, you can expect a question on reformer or social reformer or socio-religious reformer like Sayyid Ahmad Khan. You can expect a question on nationalist leader Bal Gangadhar Tilak, a nationalist leader Tej Bahadur Sapru. You can expect a question on Bhil tribal revolt. But in history optional subject, this is never possible. If any question has to occur from nationalist leadership, they are only Dadabhai Nauroji, Mahatma Gandhi, Jawaharlal Nehru, Subhash Chandra Bose, and Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel. Apart from these five, if anyone working on any other, this is sheer wastage of time, but he or she is working because she is not aware of this. We cannot expect any question on Sayyid Ahmad Khan. We can expect question on only 4 or 5 reformers: Raja Ram Mohan Roy, Derozio, Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar, Dayanand Saraswati, and Vivekanand. That's all. And a proof of this is, go through the history optional question. Last 40-50 years, you will never find a question on what I've said that can be there in GS. And the same thing UPSC repeats. On Mahatma Gandhi, we'll find question today, again after 2 years, again after 3 years, again. But they don't ship to Tej Bahadur Sapru. Why? I have just now said. At this level in history optional subject, it depends on level also. At the school level, maybe you have question on those things. At GS level, you have. But at history optional level, they present only those issues and themes related to, I have said, those events or policies or personalities that have significantly played a role in creating history. If that significance is not there, there won't be any question. There was no question, there is no question, there won't be any question in future. So this way you have to do more history in GS. You will have to do at least, I think, 20 around tribal revolts in GS. But if you ask me in history, 1, Kol revolt, 2nd, Santhal revolt, 3rd, Munda revolt. Over. No other question would be there. I hope you are getting my point. So this way what I want to say, you have to do more more history in history GS, plus more dates and years that is not required here also. On this basis, I want to say you are doing history optional, in fact, without knowing it. Now the second thing, then what is the difference exactly? If I am saying everything is same, and even more in GS, and I'm not saying I'm proving it. So history optional subject, difference is what? Difference is what? What is more? Difference means so many differences you have come to know. But what is more in history optional subject? More is here. In ancient Indian history, art and culture part is there, plus the other part is non-art and culture part, what we say. Non-art and culture part means social history, economic history, and political history. Same way in medieval Indian history also. Art and culture part is there. So art and culture part is same what you have in GS. Even GS you have more, even petty things are there. But apart from art and culture part, in both the sections, we have social, economic, political history. Like you read in GS, Mauryas, Indus Valley Civilization, Guptas, Cholas. So social, political, economic history. This history is more in history optional. This means what is more in history optional more than GS? In ancient Indian history and in medieval Indian history, I'm writing in short, economic, political history. This part you will have to expand in history optional subject. Rest is more in GS. Why? Because ancient Indian history, socio-economic political part is only in preliminary exam. This is not in main. Main you have art and culture part. And medieval Indian history in prelim is only, both are there. I mean, art and culture is also there, socio-economic and political history is also there. But what I want to say here is, in ancient Indian history and medieval Indian history, the socio-economic political history is not there in GS main. So you have to do less in GS, you have to do more in history optional. And whatever is there in main, in GS main, Indian art and culture, modern Indian history, including post 1947, but this is till present. In history, this is till 1964 mainly, and modern world history. These three sections are there in GS main, and these three sections in history optional, they are exactly same. Even question wise also this is exactly same. And I'm going to prove it. I'm going to show you the questions related to Indian art and culture, modern Indian history, and modern world history of GS and of history optional subject. Take a look. This side you have general studies question. This side history optional question. Okay? First question, general studies. Persian literary sources of medieval India reflect the spirit of the A's comment, 2020 GS question. I think you don't go through the questions very properly. But this is the fundamental requirement. Any section you do, first go through the syllabus and past year questions. Because if you're not aware of the trend and the standard of the past year question, you're just throwing arrows in the dark. Suppose you are preparing GS. But if this kind of question you can't handle, means your preparation is not okay. This is logic, because UPSC has presented this question. This is not a fake question. Same question, similar standard here, see. Identify the different categories of Persian literature which emerged during the Delhi Sultanate, 2021 history of. Don't you think this is the same kind of question? Have a look at the second question, GS 2018. The Bhakti movement received a remarkable reorientation with the advent of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Discuss. History optional. Write a short essay on Chaitanya Dev and Vaishnavism, 2005 question. Do you find any difference? I don't think. Take a look. General studies, third question. These are the questions of art and culture. Sufis and medieval mystic saints failed to modify either the religious ideas and practices or the outward structure of Hindu oblique Muslim societies to any appreciable extent. Comment 2014. And take a look at this. You will be finding it very interesting. Sufis and medieval mystic saints failed to modify either. This is the same question that occurred in history optional in 2015, next year. First this occurred in GS, then it occurred in history optional. And I hope you understand these are not fake questions I have not created. You can have a look at you have some booklet of past year questions? Yes. If you are not in a position to address this standard in GS, your preparation is not all right. And if you follow this standard, you are following this standard in history optional automatically. Take a look at more question. General studies. Assess the importance of the accounts of the Chinese and Arab travelers in the reconstruction of the history of India, 2018. History question. In what ways are the accounts of the Greco-Romans and the Chinese helpful in reconstruction of the social history of India? How far is their information corroborated by contemporary source? See, same. Here just Chinese is there, here Greek also added, Greek-Roman. Next year maybe you find in GS you have Greek-Roman sources asked. Take a look at next. Number 5. Early Buddhist stupa art, while depicting folk motifs and narratives, successfully expounds Buddhist ideals. Elucidate. 2016 question, GS. Take a look at history question. How interesting is this? Same question. Explain as to how the early Buddhist stupa art, while using motifs and narratives and common cultural symbols, succeeded in transforming these themes for expounding Buddhist ideas. 2013. Same question, just words are slightly different. This question occurred first in history optional in 2013, then in GS. Again, I am saying the same thing, that if you are not comfortable in handling this question, your preparation is not all right. And the moment you are comfortable here, you are comfortable in history optional as well. Next one. Taxila University was one of the oldest universities of the world, but unlike Nalanda, it is not considered as a university in the modern sense. Discuss. Here. Assess the educational system in early India and identify important educational institutions, two being Taxila and Nalanda. Next question. Though not very useful from the point of view of a connected political history of South India, the Sangam literature portrays the social and economic conditions of its time with remarkable vividness. Comment. Same question here. Discuss the salient features of the cultural traditions of South India as reflected in Sangam literature. If you're not comfortable here, you're not comfortable in GS. And the moment you're comfortable, you're comfortable in history optional also. Now some questions of modern Indian history. There were some questions of art and culture. Now some modern Indian history questions. First one, the political and administrative reorganization of states and territories has been a continuous ongoing process since the mid-19th century, discussed with examples. History. The reorganization of the states on the basis of language was a major aspect of national consolidation and integration. Comment. Many times you will find just expressions and words are different. Answer would be same. Next one. Assess the main administrative issues and socio-cultural problems in the integration process of Indian princely estates. How were the princely estates integrated in the Indian Union after the partition? See, just one thing added. What role did Sardar Patel play in it? Maybe next time you in GS you find the role of Sardar Patel in integration of native states. Next one. In what ways did the naval mutiny prove to be the last nail in the coffin of British colonial aspirations in India? Here. The Royal Indian Navy Revolt. Royal Indian Navy Revolt and naval mutiny is the same thing. Was seen as an event which marked the end of the British rule almost as finally as Independence Day. Explain. Next one. Examine the linkages between the 19th century's Indian Renaissance. Indian Renaissance refers to the 19th century socio-religious reforms and the emergence of national identity. History optional. Discuss the extent to which the Indian Renaissance movement contributed toward the rise of nationalist consciousness. Same question, same answer you will have to write. Next one. Why was there a sudden spurt in famines in colonial India since the mid-18th century? Give reasons. GS question. History optional question. Famines were not just because of food grain scarcity, but were a direct result of colonial economic policies. Same question. Take a look at more. Evaluate the policies of Lord Curzon and their long-term implications on the national movement. History question. Curzon's partition of Bengal gave the unwitting initiative to events of magnitude and returned many years later to port with the cargo of freedom. This question is in fact related to the Curzon's policy that was anti-nationalist, particularly partition of Bengal in 1905. The same question is there. And 7. Do you think Mahatma Gandhi's support to Khilafat movement had diluted his secular credentials? Give your arguments based on the assessment of events. History optional. M.K. Gandhi made a gross mistake in championing the Khilafat cause, an extraterritorial issue which cut out the very roots of Indian nationality. GS question. Discuss the role of women in the freedom struggle, especially during the Gandhian phase. History optional question. What significant role did women play in the Indian national movement? I personally don't find any difference. I think your case is also the same. But the point is, if you are not working at this level, the level of question demanded in GS, then you feel that history optional level would be much higher, because in GS you are working at a very low level that is not required. But the moment you start working at the standard level, what is required, the standard level means you are in a position to handle these kind of questions. I'm not saying all, but suppose I'm showing you 15, 20 questions, so in 20 at least 15 you should handle properly. And the moment you handle 15, your level is a standard. And the moment this level is there, this is the level what you required in history optional. So you have seen the questions of art and culture and modern India. Have a look at the questions of world history also. Because many say world history is entirely different in history optional, this is very vast. No, see. General studies. What were the events that led to the Suez crisis in 1956? How did it deal a final blow to the Britain's self-image as a world power? 2014 question. And there also it's interesting, 2014 question. Discuss the circumstances leading to the Suez crisis of 1956. Same, and same year. Means in GS paper 1 you are writing this again, when you are writing history of, you are writing the same answer. And examine its repercussions on global politics. Tail part is slightly different. Second, why did the Industrial Revolution first occur in England? Discuss the quality of life of the people there during the industrialization. History optional question. Explain why England became the harbinger of Industrial Revolution. Same. Also throw light on its social consequences. More question. General studies. what problems are germane to the decolonization process in Malaya Peninsula. Here, what happened to Malaya after it was liberated from Japanese occupation in 1945? Discuss. Expressions are different, essence is the same. 4. Latecomer industrial revolution in Japan involved certain factors that were markedly different from what West had experienced. There is a comparison between industrial revolution in Japan and the Western world. And here the comparison, see. The process of industrialization in some other countries of Europe was different from that in England. Here the comparison is between England and other parts of Europe. Next one. Africa was chopped into states artificially created by accident of European competition. Analyze. History. In all the long annals of imperialism, the partition of Africa means Africa was chopped into. A remarkable freak. Next one. American Revolution was an economic revolt against mercantilism. Substantiate. Here. American Revolution was essentially an economic conflict between American capitalism and British mercantilism. Critically examine. Words are different, question is the same, and same answer you are supposed to write. So, on the basis of many questions, some from art and culture, some from modern Indian history, including post-1947, and some from world, I have shown you that the same level you have to follow. Your level is not higher in history optional subject. But I have said, in history optional subject, there are two things you have to study more, that is socio-political economic history of ancient and medieval India. That's all. Otherwise, you have to study more history in GS. And I have said, what is more in GS? Maybe if you have done reformers, suppose, modern Indian history in classes. How many reformers you have done? Roughly, if you have done. Reformers, suppose nationalist leaders. Maybe you don't remember. What I want to say is that in GS history you will have to do more. All known reformers you will have to do. All known nationalist leaders you will have to do. But here you have just 4, 5. I will be shifting to that. So the first advantage what I have said is that history optional preparation is in fact the expansion of the preparation of history GS. And this I am going to prove on one more basis. And that basis is the books. What books I would be recommending, suppose in history optional subject? I would be recommending these books. Ancient Indian History by R.S. Sharma, Medieval Indian History by Satish Chandra, Modern Indian History by Bipin Chandra, Modern World History by Anwarul Haq. These are all 11th, 12th class past series NCERT. Same books you have to study for history GS as well. Maybe you are studying also. So, what I want to say here is that same books also you have to study. The extra things is that is through notes, that's it. No other book is required. Just you have to work on these books very properly, very minutely, nothing else. And these books anyway you are doing in GS. But in history I will tell you like how to read these books from history optional point of view. What things are not required, even in these books. What things to be focused. No, like I have said, all nationalistic leaders won't be occurring as a question. All reformers won't be occurring as a question. All travel revolts won't be occurring as a question. So this idea you should have. This is very important idea here. So advantage number one you have come to know. Now the advantage number two here. Advantage number two. That is role in general studies. This you have come to know automatically. When everything is there in GS, so anyway this is playing a role. This is playing a role in preliminary exam, this is playing a role in main exam, GS. And how I hope you understand now. Preliminary exam has been becoming also very dicey day by day. And there are many people who feel they are comfortable at the main examination, but they have been failing in preliminary exam. And this is your first stage, so qualifying this is also important. There are certain optional subjects, I would be saying in certain particularly history and geography, from where you have sizable number of questions. And those questions are also very complex. So if you have the optional level preparation, that will of course help. So this point, this advantage you understand. The next is third advantage, role in essay and interview. How this connection might not be very clear. See, history is in fact what? History is a record of all development in the past. It covers all aspects of human life. Political system, administration, society, religion, art forms, science and technology, economy, everything. So we say history means history of everything. Here you have science tech also, here you have economy also, here you have political system also. And of the whole world, because world history is also there. So when you study this way, then what happens? It broadens your awareness, because you come to know about all facets of human life. This is a very remarkable, you can say, the feature of history history subject. Nowhere else. Why? Because everything you are studying. You are studying here PubAd, you are studying here anthropology, you are studying here sociology, you are studying here. I mean, when all aspects of human life you have to study, so all subject would be there, but the only difference is of past, not present and future. So a lot of things happened in the political system you have to study. You come to know about the political system of ancient, medieval, modern times, administrative policies, administrative structures. I hope you are getting my point. So because of this, since you study everything, all aspects of human life, it broadens your awareness. And awareness plays a dominant role in a good essay writing. You can write good essay only when you have broad awareness and you have ideas. And same way this helps in interview. Interview is essentially what? Interview is essentially personality test. And personality has certain aspects. One dominant aspect is your awareness. How aware you are about all aspects of human life. So if you are aware of many things, you are aware of society, economy, political system, etc., etc. So this has to play a role in personality test. Normally we don't study history from this perspective. In fact, your perspective is to qualify anyway, I understand. History as a means to an end. That end is becoming IAS. This is fine. But automatically this will widen your awareness without you making any efforts. Because you are moving the whole world, knowing everything. You get my point? After this, next advantage is, that is very, very important, and I want to focus on this. Coverage of about 60% of syllabus for about 99% of question. I'm not saying 100%. So many things are mentioned in the syllabus of history optional subject. But as I have said, that a very remarkable thing about the pattern of the question in history optional subject is, what I don't think is applicable to any other optional subject, that only those events, those personalities, those policies, those development, etc., occur as a question that have played a role in creating history, either at local, regional or supra-regional level. If any event has happened, any personality had emerged, any development took place, but the role in creating history is not important, that will not occur as a question. So many personalities emerged, so many events took place, thousands, lakhs, so many development took place, and so many those things are mentioned in the syllabus. But the question occurs from only this. This awakening is very, very important in the preparation of history optional subject. And I have one example here. So many examples is there, but one example I have presented in a slide. In fact, I am using slide in order to save my time, your time, and make the things faster and more effective, because through this it becomes more organized. Because if I keep on speaking, everything is in the air. There should be something concrete also. Suppose questions, so many questions I have shown. Is it possible through speaking? So I have here one example for you, very popular one. See, history normally considered as dynasties, ruling houses, rulers, their role. This is not the history, in fact. But this is considered as the main part of the history. You also consider, and that's why I presented that also, that only. Dynasties in ancient and early medieval period. Here you find 11 dynasties are mentioned. Here you find more are mentioned till 21. When you have to prepare for history, ancient GS, you will have to work on all this. You have a broad idea of all. Because you don't know exactly question would be from what. But in history optional subject, though all are mentioned in syllabus, what I am showing is all mentioned in the syllabus. But the question, from the question point of view, you have to focus on one, okay, 9, one Mauryas, 9 Guptas, and 19. This is your focus while preparing history optional subject. Second thing, I mean only 3, Mauryas, Guptas and Cholas. Second thing here important, that there are many from where no question can occur. This is a guarantee. No question has occurred in the last 50, 60 years, and no question will occur in future as well. They are (11). Just a minute. I cross that. But in GS history PT, you may have a question on Kadambas. Next. (15) Senas. 15 senas. Then 17 Paramars. And 21 Pandyas. All right. So 3 are to be focused. From some, no question can occur. That is so insignificant and records are very limited. But from PT point of view, question is possible. With multiple choices there, fact has to be asked. This is possible. But in history optional is not possible. Records are so limited. But the committee has mentioned. Okay. And regarding the rest, I mean, where you don't have cross or tick mark, only a specific theme is required. Like Morias you have to do. So here you have tick. So regarding the rest, like Shungas, no, Indo-Greeks cross is not there. So like Shungas, Indo-Greeks, Sakas, Kushanas, and others where there is no cross, there is no tick. Just a specific theme is required. That is the only theme that could become a question. For example, in the case of Shungas, only art. There is no other question possible excepting Shunga art. So many things are there in Shungas. Indo-Greek, Sakas, Kushanas, and Western Chhatra. Related to these. They are the foreign ruling groups. Here just 2 themes are required. One is the new political system. I mean, what they have introduced. And second is their coins. But in GS, you have to study so many things. Kushanas, their names, important rulers, dynasties, chronology. Next one. Satvanas. What is required? Coins and art. I hope you are getting my point, what I want to say. Sangam age states, like Cholas, Pandyas, and Cheras, maybe you are aware. Only nature. Nothing else. No need to know the names of the Chola kings like Karikala or the Pandya king and their rule and nothing. Just nature of the Sangam age states. This is the only possibility of question. This is in all the cases where there is no cross, there is no tick. Tick means you have to focus, do properly. Cross means no need to do, no question will occur. And the rest means certain specific things like Vaktakas. Just one thing. Ajanta art. Ajanta, you have a group of caves, some constructed during the rule of Satvanas, and some constructed during the rule of Vakatas. Only one question is possible. Throw light on the role of Vakatakas with respect to Ajanta art, Ajanta cave. I hope you are getting my point, what I want to say. This is applicable here also, in this case also, like Pallavas. The only theme required is political system and temple architecture. That's all. Palas, only thing required is contribution to art. That's it. But in GS we will have to do Pala dynasty, reason, year, founder, second ruler, third ruler, all these things. But here just Pala's contribution to the field of culture, that's it. That includes art and Buddhism, that's it. Senas, I am saying nothing is required. Rajputas, just one thing, art. The role in creating Ellora caves, Elephanta caves, that's it. Parmars, nothing. Chalukyas of Kalyani, just one thing, temple architecture. Under them developed what is known as Vesar style of temple architecture. Cholas, we have to do proper. Hoysala, just one. Temple architecture, that is also Vesar style, that continues from the Chalukyas of Kalyani period. Pandyas, nothing. So what I want to say is, see, 21 dynasties are there mentioned in the syllabus, ancient and early medieval period. And people keep on doing because they are ignorant. It's a societal attempt if this is the way you cover the syllabus. There are smart ways. And it depends on how awakened you are. That's why I have said, go through the question paper. This is very, very important. Today I have shown you so many questions of GS. You haven't gone through very properly. Because those kind of questions would be occurring next year also. How you will handle? When you have the idea of the question, then you will understand your level and the level of question. If there is a gap, you will fill in this gap. Otherwise, you will keep on working on a basic level and all questions would be beyond your reach. And this is not the case of history. This is the case in every section of GS, level is higher. But in history, what is unique, that the level is the same as the optional level. This is not the case in other optional subjects, maybe. I'm not well aware, but I don't think this is the case because there are certain optional subjects, they have overlap with history, yes. Overlap with GS, yes. But this is not the case that everything in the optional subject is there in GS, as in the case of history. This is a unique aspect of this. Now I'm moving on to the next. And next advantage is number 5, that is a lot of repetitions in the question. This is also a big advantage. Why this is a big advantage? As I have said, if you go through the question paper, you will find that there are certain specific themes in all the sections, ancient, medieval, modern, world. UPSC keeps on asking them, repeating them in different words, different expressions. I'm giving you some examples since you are comfortable in modern India. Battle of Plassey and Buxar. Every now and then you will find question on this. History optional I am talking about. Mahatma Gandhi, Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, British conquest of Mysore, British conquest of Bengal, 4 or 5 reformers, Raja Ram Mohan Roy, Surchand Vidyasagar, etc. Economic policies of the British and their impact. There are certain examples I am giving you. They keep on repeating. Just in different expressions, different words, sometimes they will create a statement. And for this you can go through the question paper, you will understand. At least you can check one, Battle of Plassey and Buxar. You will find every 2-3 years there is a question on this. But this requires a deep insight into the pattern of the question. How I am telling you, because teaching for a long time, so I've developed this insight into the pattern. I've been a witness of the changing pattern. What is the trend? There are certain things people keep on doing. Suppose partition. Partition is important. But role of Muhammad Ali Jinnah, we can never expect any question in history of the subject. It's a wastage of time doing this. But people do it. I don't know why, because they're not aware. And these things are taught also. But for teaching also, deep insight of the demand is required. I'll just give you one logic. In school exams, you got good marks because you fulfilled the demand of the exam. In college you did because you fulfilled the demand of the exam. Same thing is required here. And how demand you will come to know? Through syllabus, but more through question papers. My aim is just one in the class, nothing else. I never believe in making you masters of history. That is not required also. You also don't believe in reading a lot and studying a lot. You just believe in becoming an IAS anyway. So I believe in just one thing. To make you the thing, to make you understand the things, what do you call basics? Make you awaken to the idea of that 60%. This is very important. And make you very comfortable. Any question you can answer. I mean, 99% of question you can answer. And the moment it is done, you are comfortable. Because I don't think anyone needs anything else. Anything else means beyond the core. And core is what? What type of, or whatever types of questions occur, most of them should be within your reach, and you should be comfortable in addressing them. I mean, writing excellent answer. That's it. Do you think any other demand is there? The moment this demand is fulfilled, you qualify, because you will get marks. This is what I call core in the preparation. Beyond the core, so many things are there. The stories, interesting things, motivation, these. I personally believe these are all useless things. Once you are here, highly motivated people. And the point is, if the core is missed, the moment core is missed, you can never qualify. So our whole focus should be core. And core is understand the demand and work on that in such a way so that you finally address them in an excellent manner. In the classes also, I mainly do this. I think even today also you might have realized, I have not said anything else excepting the core. I'm not motivating you. I'm not doing anything else excepting raising your level to the standard of the exam. Through so many logics, proofs, evidences, because without evidences, how you will understand? Suppose I say, GS history and history optional questions are same. You won't believe. But now there is no other option. You will have to believe it, because I have shown you and just not one. Suppose in one question this happens, this might be a chance. Two questions, this might be a chance. But so many questions, this won't be a chance. This is a logic you have to accept. So after this, so repetition part you also understand. And why repetitions are there? Because there is also one more advantage here. There is no current issue here in history. And since no current issue is there, so everything is fixed. See this one, number 6, no current. Why so many repetitions are there? Such repetitions you won't find under other optional subjects. One reason is that questions occur only from only those themes, issues that have played significant role in making history in past. So they are not all. So this will come down this way. And second, no current is there. The moment current is there, in all optional subject, a lot of current is there. You will have to go through newspapers, magazines in order to supplement that. And the moment current is there, anything can happen, anything can become a question, new one. You never visualized. That become very dynamic. History is all fixed. History is what? This happened, this happened, this happened, this happened, this happened, over. What is happening and what will happen, this is not our cup of tea. So since what is there, all we know, and if we have deep insight that among that, what could be the question, then it is all fixed. You can guess, like in university exams, you used to guess. Some teachers used to present you guess, and out of guess questions used to be there. This will happen here as well, though UPSC is highly unpredictable. You can't guess in GS. You can't make a guess in any other optional subject. You can't make a guess in essay. Only here this is possible because of two reasons. With any optional subject you take, current is there. Here one more advantage is there. So this also saves a lot of time. One more advantage is there, what I have mentioned. 7, no typical theories and thinkers. This also makes the things easy. Because if you have thinkers and theories, typical ones, that become mind-boggling. That makes the things complex. Here, a few thinkers are there, but very simplistic. If you consider Mahatma Gandhi as a thinker, so okay, Mahatma Gandhi is there. If you consider Jawaharlal Nehru as a thinker, so it's fine, yes. But very simplistic. Their ideas related to Indian national movement and building of India. Not their, complex philosophies. And this saves also a lot of time. So simplistic, this happened, this happened, this happened. And out of what all happened, a few things happen in the exam. And if you come to know those few things and work hard on that, almost every question would be there in an exam, what you have prepared, and you will be writing a good answer, you will get marks. Because examiner won't be saying, why you are writing in history, won't be giving good marks. I have said every optional is scoring, provided you perform. So I think the other 7 what I have mentioned. Yes. And the last 8, third is approach to prepare. And prepare means what? Preparation not anyway. Preparation in such a way, because see, as I have said, in classes, I have been believing in just one thing from the very beginning. Just focus the demand of the exam, nothing else. Focusing means here in history, make people understand what all would occur as a question. This is very important. Though we will be doing all basics, we will be doing all topics, but finally focus is something else. My need is what? My need is essentially not improving your basics. Basics you can do through NCERT books also. Though in the classes we do all basics, but I'm telling you something else. My main requirement is that any question occurs in the exam, I make you comfortable. My main requirement is this. Without understanding, with understanding. I'm telling you one more thing, very interesting. Finally, in case you start preparing very seriously, you will find many things you don't understand very properly. You have just broad idea. But question that occur in the exam, you are very comfortable. You write excellent answer. Maybe you are not aware of palas, all rulers and their chronology and what all they do. But in case any question from palas, you are very comfortable. My aim is that. Because the rest of the things are unnecessarily wastage of time here. Because here you all are for becoming IAS, nothing else. Otherwise what? You can follow academics. History honors, then masters, then NEET, JRF, PhD. That is a different line. Here our line is entirely different. Just focusing on. So the same is what I have mentioned here. I think everyone should follow these 4 steps. In the preparation. I have said preparation doesn't mean preparation anyway. Preparation simply means one thing. That any question, 99% I am saying, not any, suppose. 99% question what occur, you are very comfortable, you understand, you can write excellent answer. Preparation is this, preparation to me is this, nothing else. So for that, and for 300 marks naturally. If you do this, you will be getting 300 plus marks. For this, 4 steps are required. First step is course content. This is simply, you can say, a syllabus. Go through the syllabus very properly. Study this. A study means you give some time, 2 days, 3 days, mark, prepare a list. You will find so many things are there. Second step is past year's questions, 1990 onwards. Study this. This will take 15, 20 days, even 1 month hardly matters, because if you give 1 month, it will save many years later. And past year questions mean just not having a cursory view or bird's eye view, going deep into that, making list, like I have said, from Plassey and Buxer, every now and then you have question. This kind of list. Finally, we'll find there's so many things in the syllabus what you have come to know, but the question what occur, they are from this much only. And see, 90 onwards you have been considering. You can go even before that, 1980 onwards, 1970 onward. So then you will realize that your preparation revolves around certain things, not the whole of the syllabus. Whole of the syllabus is formality. This is the hallmark of the preparation of history. And after that is the third step. That is section and topic. You can start with any section. Ancient, medieval, modern world, any section. And topic. But once you do this, this should be under sub-step 1, 2, 3, 4. Sub-step 1 is understanding. Broad understanding. Understanding doesn't mean you understand everything related to that. This is of no use. I've just now said one thing. Eventually you will realize that you don't understand many things, but all questions you answer in excellent way. See, which option is better? Option 1. You understand everything in history in big way. Second, you don't understand many things. Now, in option 1, one more thing. You understand many things in depth, but you can't handle many questions. In the second option, one more thing. You don't understand many things in depth, but you can handle 99% of the question excellently. Which option would be choosing? Of course, second option. What do we have to do this with? This is required for teaching. For me, this is required. For me, both required. 1, I understand everything in depth because I have to explain. And 2, if I am focusing on the core, fulfillment of exam, I should be comfortable enough, I should have such vast knowledge to understand every issue and the answer of that. But for you, second option is always a better option. And see, all those qualify, even top rankers and all. They don't understand everything in their subject, even in GS. But substantial number of questions they write well. Simple, whatever way. Because it is not necessary that you understand in depth, only then you will write answer in excellent manner, in many cases. And particularly in history, because everything is fixed, static. Where dynamism is there, then of course maybe requirement in depth is there. So here, sub-step 1 is understanding, you understand, basic understanding, Suppose I say Mauryas. So you understand broadly, Mauryas means what? Who, where, when, what rulers, why known for, over, that's it. After that, your requirement is just focus out of Mauryas, what could occur as a question and what could not. And what could occur as a question, just focusing on that. Working on that very hard and answer writing, everything. And see, finally, when you will be writing exam, if any question occurs from the Mauryas, that would be the question what you have already done. Because you are saving time, not doing unnecessarily things. There are people who would be doing everything in Mauryas. We'll be doing all rulers in detail, Ashoka in detail, Kalinga war in detail, Bindusar in detail, his father's name, mother's name. This is sheer wastage of time. This is not our level here. Chandragupta Maurya, no question is possible at all. Bindusar, no question is possible at all. Just yes, Chandragupta Maurya was the founder, successor was Bindusar, then successor was Ashoka. That's it, over. You have to just focus on Ashoka. Only Ashoka could be a question. And Ashoka also what? That is also important. Ashoka doesn't mean Kalinga war. Ashoka means some higher level of things like Ashoka's Dhamma and Upanishadic thought, how they were connected. Ashoka's Dhamma and Buddhism. Various views on Ashoka's Dhamma. I mean, this kind of a few issues are there. So, sub-step 1 is understanding. Sub-step 2 is about 60%, and about 60% is what I have explained, and I'm explaining. Maurya, so what? Ashoka, so what? Finally, when you start focusing this way, zooming in, finally that would become about 60%. Though you have broad idea of everything. For example, suppose if I start a topic, 19th century reforms movement. I will make you understand everything, all broad idea. Reforms movement, why, how, what characteristic features, what elements, what ideas were there, what movements, what reformers, all right? Then you have all understanding. After that, suppose if I start working on Sayyid Ahmad Khan, I am wasting my time, your time. After that, my role is to awaken you too now in socio-religious reforms. Only this, that's all. And then I will tell you, go through the question papers. Last 40 years, you won't find any question beyond this. So there's a logic, there's not a chance. So just focusing on that. And on that what? Suppose 19th century socio-religious reforms. What issue could occur as a question? I mean, I'm talking about 60% part. Not any feature, but yes, 19th century reforms. Was it a renaissance? This issue. Do you consider this as reformation? This issue. Three basic characteristics of these reforms: humanism, religious universalism, and rationalism. This issue. Over. But if you are working on so many other things here, there is a wastage of time. Some higher level, you might be realizing some higher level of things are there. Same thing is important for GS as well. Because modern India is in GS as well. And I have shown you the standard of question as similar. And a few reformers. In GS, of course, more, but in optional, Raja Ram Mohan Roy, Henry Vivian de Rosio, Ishwarchand Vidyasagar, Dayanand Saraswati, and Vivekanand. That's it. And these are the only 5 mentioned in the syllabus, also history optional. But in the case of GS, you will have to go beyond this. Maybe Sayyid Ahmad Khan, maybe other also. So this is about 60% of parts. This is the second sub-step when you are doing a topic, and this is very, very important. If you have to score 300 and around, you will have to awaken to this. There's no other choice. Or else you will keep on doing everything. And through so many examples, I am proving it also. Third sub-step is related PYQs. Suppose you are doing a topic, Maurya. So on Mauryas, what questions in the last 30-40 years? All. In the classes, I provide this. You cannot do so many things. I provide, the moment we finish a topic now, I will provide you all related questions, 30 years. And I will prove you, see, these are the only issues that occur as a question. See, have a look, the way I have proved today. And whatever relevant, that becomes the question on which you will practice. See, after that, sub-step 4, answer writing. Answer writing you shouldn't do after finishing all the course, all sections and joining test series. No, this is the wrong way. This becomes a 5-year plan then. The smart way to do it. The moment you take the first topic, in the classes, how do I do? I start the first topic, suppose any section. We'll be starting with modern Indian history this time. So first topic. First topic, first understanding. This I will do. That is all basics, so that you have background or no background, you understand. Anyway, you are doing in GS. Second, then I will tell you, what is the 60% of this topic? What you have to focus for the exam. And then I will be focusing on that also, making you very comfortable in that 60%. Like religious universalism, you understand very well. Rationalism, you understand very well. Understand humanism, you understand very well with respect to 19th century reforms movement. Was it a renaissance, you understand very well. So what all require, you understand very well. And then I will give you related PYQs on reforms movement, all 30 years. In the classes we'll discussing. And then I will give you the idea of answer writing. I mean, just after the end of the topic, that what answer is the best answer? How to score 300? What to be able, so many guidelines are there. And then I will tell you to start answer writing. And for answer writing, you have to use certain past year questions, what I will be indicating. And I will be also creating some questions I am giving you. So the moment you finish first topic, you start answer writing also. Second topic, same way. Third topic, same way. Fourth topic, same way. Move to second section, same way. Third section, fourth section, history syllabus is over. The moment it is over, you become comfortable in understanding and answering in excellent manner any question that has occurred in the past and any question that has to occur in future. This is the real preparation in short way. Like 5 months the course will go on. I want to ensure in 5 months completion is just not a simple completion. Completion is this. So after that, what is required? Just 2 things. Sit, revise before the exam properly and produce in the exam. That's all. Otherwise, so many other ways are there to teach. And step 4 is map I have mentioned. In history, there is a map question in the first paper related to ancient and early medieval India. This has to be done at the end. I mean, at the end of first paper, particularly, or at the end of ancient. Because if you do, suppose you start with the ancient Indian history, you do map in the very beginning. It's not the right approach. Because the moment you finish all ancient Indian history and all early medieval Indian history, because from early medieval Indian history also sites are presented. So you become comfortable in all history of ancient India and early medieval India. Then this creates a very strong basis of handling the sites. Because most of the sites you will come across while doing topics. So finally when you do map, you are aware of almost all the sites. So these are the steps one should follow for a brilliant preparation for getting 300 plus marks. This is the approach. And this is my approach also. This is my approach in the class also. This should be your approach also. Certain things you don't do. Step 1 you don't do very properly. Step 2 you don't do very properly. And of course, sub-step 2 and sub-step 3 also you don't do very properly. Sub-step 4 also you don't do. You wait for the completion of the course, then you will be joining test series. Test series is okay. Test series is for giving a final form. That's it. But even without test series, if you go like this, you are comfortable. So this is all about the 3 A's. In the beginning, you will not understand 3A's is what. Now understand the 3A's. And if you have any query, I can answer. Almost all the things what were there in your mind, I have settled down in many ways in giving examples. And yes. Yes. There is historiography. And number-wise, this is around 15 in total history. That is the part of the syllabus. Many a time it is not mentioned, it is inherent. Sometimes it is mentioned also. And some historiography is very important for the question, that is a part of 60%. Like, was Mauryan state was a centralized state? Is a part of 60%. Was revolt of 1857 a national revolt? Is the part of, and second one is important for GS as well. Was partition of India inevitable? Could it be stopped? Various views on the rise of Indian nationalism. This way, I think 15 around historiography is there. This is all we do in the classes. Yes, if you can, you should mention. Means in the case of any question related to debate, this is what we call debate, then you should mention the name of the historians also. For example, suppose you have a question, the historiography of Indian nationalism. So you should mention the Cambridge perspective, the imperialist perspective, the nationalist perspective, Marxist perspective, yes, and you can mention the name of the historians also. And naturally you will remember because only 15 are there, debates. So you will remember, Bipin Chandra says this, R.P. Dutt says this. All remember, all the students remember because there are not many. But if you are doing masters and all, then there is a lot of historiography there. But here it is limited. Ancient a few, medieval a few, modern, total I think around 50. Yes, anything else you want to ask? Yes. And model answers, what do? I create this on the smart board also. Suppose one question. So I create this here. Part wise, part 1 this, 2, 3, 4, 5. Plus I will provide hard copy also. But this is more important. Because this way we don't discuss one question. Suppose we have spent 2 hours around. 2 hours we discuss a lot of things. Must be feeling very heavy now. What? Why? Because we are focusing on the core, nothing else. No motivation, nothing else. Maybe you get demotivated now. But I have done the right thing because I know this is the only way you can qualify. So in 2 hours class, suppose the answer writing session 1 class suppose. So in 2 hours class, how many questions you think we can discuss? 30, 40, 50 questions I discussed so fast on the board and so many PPTs plus giving you some handouts also. So that is more important. When I keep on discussing, see this question this way to be written, this question this way, this question this way, this question this way. Just 5-10 questions we discuss, no, you become a smart in answer writing. Okay? And that we do how? After finishing first topic, when I shift to this. So there is a full-fledged class on answer writing. After finishing first topic, we are starting with modern Indian history, right? First topic is British conquest of India. The moment we finish it, and how will we finish, you understand. Then there will be a class, how to write answers. What things to be avoided, what things to be incorporated. What are various perceptions in the market, they are wrong. How people are getting marks. What is an excellent answer? So many things. Suppose 1-2 hours discussion on this. Then you get awakened that what kind of answer would be the brilliant answer. And then I urge you to write. Then you start writing. Then we will keep on discussing. Okay, this question, this way, this question, this way wrong, this way correct. So I think not end of the course. The moment we finish one section, no, you will become expert in answer writing. Because the moment we finish modern Indian history, you become expert. Why? Because so many topics we finish and so many questions we discuss. That is what you have to follow. Anything else? That's all. So all the best. Very pleasant interacting with you. All the best for qualifying in the very first attempt.